It's now time for What's Up Asheville, sponsored by the City of Asheville, with the host, Mr. Sam Parada, and here he is.
Good afternoon, Asheville. I'm your host, Sam Parada, as always, and welcome to another episode of What's Up Asheville here on WRES 100.7 FM. Now, today with me I have Rachel Taylor. She is the Economic Development Division Manager for the city. She's new at the position for a couple months now, Taylor, that's right?
Yep. I started in June in this position.
Congratulations.
Thank you, yeah.
And you've been with the city for 2 years, you told me.
Yep, exactly.
Why don't you tell me your background with the city, how you worked your way up, and what do you do now?
Exactly. So I started at the city in the Economic Development Specialist position. And that's in the Community and Economic Development Department. So we've got economic development, affordable housing, community development, and houselessness strategies. Mm-hmm. And so I started there, and I had a background in rural economic development, and worked on a lot of projects. And as we were kind of reimagining what the division needed to do and look like, I was able to apply and move up into this position.
Nice. So it took you those 2 years to now become the manager. Mm-hmm. So what do you do now? What's your day-to-day, like office work? Who do you meet? What do you do?
Well, a lot of my day-to-day, I'm going to do a shameless plug and say that we're hiring. So visit our website. I think our whole department has about 6 positions open. So I've been doing a lot of hiring and project management. So we work on projects and really try to support a lot of other departments as well. So I work closely with the planning and urban design department too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you work on trying to get the community to improve in all aspects of societal.
Yeah, so economic development is really focused on creating good opportunities for employment, economic mobility. So, one of the kinds of work that we do is working with the Economic Development Coalition and Buncombe County. And if there's a big company who wants to locate in Asheville, we'll work with them through that process. So
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, you came today to talk about, let me see if I can get it right, the minority and women-owned business enterprises. There's an event happening. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell me all about that?
Great. Well, I'm going to back up just a little bit and say that we've got, within our division, there's a lot of layers in our department. And so within our Economic Development Division, we have a couple of different offices and programs. So with the Business Inclusion Office, the main goal of that office is to promote equity in contracting and kind of be that pass-through to work with the city. And so we're hosting an event to meet vendors and work with vendors for the minority and women-owned business enterprises. I might refer to that as MWBEs.
Yes.
Hard to avoid some of those acronyms.
I know, but it makes it easier sometimes because it is a mouthful otherwise. So this all these vendors, they are mostly local.
Yep, mostly local. So the Business Inclusion Office has a race and gender conscious policy, and we do that every year. Another project we have going on is the disparity study, and so we have to have a disparity study every 5 years to be able to have that race and gender conscious policy. So we work with vendors from about a 10-county radius around Asheville.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And this disparity study is to see how many or what the demographics are for the vendors the city works with, I assume.
Well, this event is really geared towards connecting the MWBE vendors across with each other, so it's kind of like a networking event.
Okay.
And we want to be able to introduce vendors to prime contractors. So without getting too far into the technical aspect, it's like you can have a prime contractor and a subcontractor. And so creating connections across those different categories as well. We'll discuss the city's capital improvement plan. So, what do we think we're going to be spending money on? What are the projects coming up? We'll talk about our bidding and contracting process and provide information on those bidding opportunities. And then we'll have some project managers there. So it's a really great way to get to know other vendors, prime contractors, and folks at the city staff level as well.
Right. So when is this event happening?
So it's happening on August 16th, and it's at the Maple Crest Apartments in the community room at 20 Lee Garden Lane. So it's 4 to 6 p.m.
It's happening very soon.
It is happening very soon.
So do you have some examples of the type of businesses that could benefit from coming to these events? Because I assume it's not every business, or maybe it is.
Well, I would really encourage any businesses that are interested to come on by and check it out, because, we want to be able to meet businesses, and there could be an opportunity. And at the same time, a lot of the big projects that we work on as a city are really kind of construction related, even on the smaller level, thinking about sidewalk widening and those kinds of projects too. So it's open to everyone, and we'll have some of those construction related projects.
Yeah, I was going to say, since I work closely with capital projects, I know that most of the biddings and most of the contracts that happen are for construction, primarily. But I also know that some of the, the purchasing departments, they work on getting all the vendors and stuff. And I know, for example, one of them was a website creator. What is the name I'm looking for?
Like a web developer or something?
Web developer, yeah, thank you. So, it's not just construction. There's
exactly.
everything.
And I remember a recent project was like a call center type of thing. I think maybe for the water department or something.
Makes sense.
So that's a great point, is that there are a lot of different projects, and we're working on some materials to just help kind of contracting with the city 101, how to even get started thinking through that. And when we were really working on, okay, what are our guidelines? How do we want to translate this information? A lot of the requirements are really project-based. So, saying somebody has to have such and such a license doesn't really apply if you're talking about web development.
Right.
But you wouldn't want the web developer to apply for maybe a construction contract.
I mean, it would be funny to see.
Construction in a different way.
So I was going to ask, I know that the process of applying for bids can be not the easiest. Will there be training, or will you go over that process in this event?
So this event is really geared more towards that networking. Interaction, and just kind of getting that process started. And at the same time, we're hoping to have that, guide hopefully ready by that time. But we're thinking through, all right, what does that communication and information sharing process look like? So we know that there's a need to walk through the steps, but you can always, if you're a vendor, you can always visit the website and get more information on each project on the bidding and contracting page.
Well, I love that you're doing this, because Asheville can be pretty diverse, and when people talk about diversity, they say that different backgrounds, different genders might have the same opportunities right now, which is true, but at the same time, there's that historical fallback of maybe they don't have the same resources or knowledge on how to apply for the bids or get in contact with some people. So I like that this is it's a very important process that you're taking.
And this office has, I can't even tell you when it got started, but it used to be, I think, the minority business office. And so this work has been going on for a really long time in kind of different iterations. And so, but it was kind of when we had the first disparity studies come about that we were able to kind of create a policy and adjust our approach. So.
And does the policy have to do with the demographics of Asheville, like percentage-wise based on the population?
I think it's more related to who's bidding on contracts and the demographics within that smaller category.
Oh, okay. Do you have any numbers that you can share with us now, or is that too much of a...
Didn't have it on hand. The policy is pretty lengthy. I think it's like 60 pages or something like that.
You don't know it by heart yet.
And I haven't memorized it yet. I'm sorry. So maybe next month. We're also so when we do each disparity study, we work with a consultant to do a lot of that data collection and information gathering. So we expect to hear from them in October. So we will have a lot of data to share later on this fall.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I was going to ask, where are we in that 5-year process? So it's coming up soon.
Yep, coming up soon. And so basically we're working to get this done ahead of the policy kind of expiring, so to speak, so that way we can keep that going.
Okay, that's great. That's awesome. I know that right now through communications, we're working on expanding with different departments that ask for contracts, like capital projects, for example, to see if they have access to multi-language contracts, because maybe there's a business, maybe local, who mostly speaks Spanish or another language, and see how we can get that local economy, moving through Asheville, because we do care about looking local first. So, do you know how many people are part of these MWB, or is that something that people sign up for?
So we do have an MWBE certification process. There are a couple of, I think, folks who are already in it probably are aware, but so the city of Asheville has an MWBE certification that you can go through, and then different organizations have certifications as well that kind of open up the opportunities a little bit more. So if I'm a business owner, I could sign up for this as a women-owned business. There's also the state has a program, and the Department of Transportation has a program that like disadvantaged business enterprises, DBEs, and that really kind of is a little bit of a broader definition than what we use. I think it also includes maybe like a veteran population. So so different organizations and different levels of government use different certifications.
Got it. So this is the one that we offer.
Yep, and so, if a business is out there, I think that's something to consider as, which certification do you want to go for? Ours might not be as rigorous as, a state or federal certification, but it doesn't provide as many opportunities as being pulled from a broader list.
That's right. And, the networking, I assume if you get in this MWBE, you end up being on a list, so we can contact if a project that requires your skills would pop up. Exactly.
So businesses can register as a vendor with the city, and through that process and through the MWBE certification, we can understand it's kind of back-end information, but we can see what the different businesses do, and so that is a way that we can contact vendors, and vendors can bid on different projects through that.
Yeah, and so I don't want to take away too much from the topic of this specific event, but is every business welcome, or is this specifically for minority and women-owned businesses?
I think we're encouraging specifically women and minority-owned businesses. That being said, we'll have some prime contractors there who may fit. I haven't have the guest list, I guess, on hand, but
Yeah.
they may also go into that category, or it might just be broad and opened up a little bit more. But
Yeah.
definitely check it out.
Well, if you own a business or you know someone who does, who if you think you can network with the city and other city vendors, or if you don't think you do, still show up. Maybe there's something here for you. Start networking, get your business out there. Let everyone know to show up on August 16th.
August 16th, 4 to 6 at Maple Crest Apartments in the community room. So that address is 20 Lee Garden Lane, Asheville, North Carolina.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to say about this event before we move on?
I think that's it. There's no registration needed, and we're really just hoping to get to know some vendors in the area and hear from them as well.
Yeah, so you show up and bring your business cards.
Please do.
All right. I also wanted to ask you, you mentioned the Business Inclusion Office also supports the Mountain Community Capital Fund.
Exactly. So
Tell me all about that.
I will do my best. We have so many things going on, and being a little bit new to my position, I'm trying to just learn as much as I can. But the Mountain Community Capital Fund is a loan guarantee program to support entrepreneurs in Asheville and Buncombe County. So this program is really geared towards business owners who might lack financial collateral, in applying for traditional loans. And so it really, the whole program encourages entrepreneurs of color and borrowers with limited income to apply. And so this fund, Mountain Community Capital Fund, the acronym is MCCF, so I might use that a little bit.
I think it's a little easier.
Yeah. We work with Carolina Small Business Development Fund, Mountain BizWorks, Self-Help Credit Union. Of course, the City of Asheville participates, and as does Buncombe County. So it's a really collaborative opportunity to provide that loan guarantee, like I said. And a lot of the loans are typically in the range between $5,000 all the way up to around $70,000.
Okay, wow. And is there like I forgot the specific way to say this, but let's say that it's like the neighborhood grants, the matching grants. It's not like the city puts $5,000 and I have to put the other $5,000. It's like an actual loan from the ground up.
Right. So it's not a grant. It is a loan guarantee. And so really, it's where it comes into play is if you're a business and you're trying to grow, trying to take that next step. It can often be challenging sometimes to get that loan that you need from the bank. So, for example, if I were to go and I didn't own a home, so I couldn't use that as collateral. Sometimes that is a challenge for small business owners and entrepreneurs. And so it's a way of providing that backing to a financial institution like a bank without having to kind of put your personal equity on the line, I guess.
Yeah, which is very nice.
Yes.
And all these groups work together. I assume like this is not just a city funded thing. So how does one go to apply for it? What's the main place for it?
That's a great question. So we work with, like I said, all of our partners. And so businesses and borrowers who are interested will complete a standard small business application with one of our participating lenders. And so that includes the Carolina Small Business Development Fund, Mountain BizWorks, and Self-Help Credit Union. So it really, though this Mountain Community Capital Fund is here, it really kind of comes in a little later in the process, and the process kind of starts at that lending institution.
And do you know the process of paying back the loan? How does that?
I'm gonna say I don't know, and I would venture to say that is probably in the details of the application and probably in partnership with those lending institutions.
Do you? I know it is only. I'm just trying to think of some questions that our
Yeah.
listeners might have ahead of time. So let's say that I'm a newly graduated college entrepreneur. Is there an age requirement? Is there a business proposal? Does the business already have to exist?
Well, like I said, the businesses will apply through the participating lenders, and so they'll work with you to understand. All right, you're at this stage. We recommend applying for this loan guarantee, or if you're really maybe just in the ideation phase, that might point you in a different direction. We have a lot of technical assistance providers in our community, and so getting to the right one at the right stage of your business can be really helpful. And so so the process for this would be, you work with that lending institution, they take you through the application, and then the committee considers the application. So that's kind of where that committee comes into play.
Got it. So, well, you heard from Rachel. If you're an entrepreneur or you have a business and need a loan, there's more options than just going to the bank and going through that difficult process of finding collateral, etc., etc. So yeah, find out the information. The name of this, I don't want to call it a project, but
yeah, it's the Mountain Community Capital Fund, and you can find information about our vendor outreach event, more details about the Mountain Community Capital Fund, and our disparity study on our webpage on the City of Asheville's website.
That's asheville.nc.gov under the Department of, what department is this under specifically?
It's Community and Economic Development. It's also under the services page for business services, and I think maybe MWBE business services.
Maybe.
There are a couple different ways. So.
I know. There's so much content in the website. All right. So now that we've talked about the event and this fund, let's talk about why. Why is equity in business so important? And we have the obvious answer of because everyone deserves it. But if from your professional experience, like, what do you see different when different backgrounds of people do business with the city?
I think Don will just speak personally, because I think for me and how I really came to economic development is that it's so important to have pathways to economic opportunity and economic mobility. And so, even if a person didn't have all of the resources, we want to be able, for our community, to have pathways to grow and to be able to build equity and resources, and that's all a part of, not only one person's life, but that translates into generational wealth as well. And so, it's kind of that tired metaphor, but the rising tide, lifts all boats. We would want to create strategies that really get at economic mobility to be able to do that for everyone in our community.
And just, the opportunity. There are so many people who, maybe your child is the first member of your family to go to college, which is great. But, there needs to be more than just going to college. There needs to be finding a job or creating your business. And a lot of the times those resources are simply not there. So, these are long-term achievements we're trying to accomplish. So, bringing up all these businesses together, I think that's a very honorable thing to do.
Exactly. And, we, like I mentioned before, we have so many partners in the community that can provide that technical assistance. We have a resource page on under Community and Economic Development. In the Economic Development page, we have a kind of a library of resources, no matter where you are in your journey, even if you're just considering, I think I have an idea, there's somebody in Asheville who can help you. And, we have a lot of complex issues that our whole community is needing to face together. And one part that this division is trying to work on is that economic piece of it.
Have you work together with the Economic Development IFA for reparations?
Yep. So I am the staff liaison.
It is you. Okay.
Yep. And so I come for the city side, and then Tim Love with Buncombe County comes, and he's a representative from the county side.
All right. So I assume this has already been working on the works for a long time.
Yeah, so, the Reparations Commission and all of the IFAs, but Economic Development in particular, is who I, know about. They are working on a lot of recommendations, and so our division and the city too will want to be able to respond to those recommendations as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I've been seeing the commission meetings and stuff, all the IFA recommendations, and it's good, that the city and the county are working with the members to bring out these recommendations forward. And I just wanted to say too, just the importance of bringing these businesses back, because displacement has been a thing historically, and it's good to have this backup now that it's finally being pushed forward.
Exactly, and I think this office has been in place for a while, and there's always room to grow, and so being just supporting and being the liaison to the Economic Development IFA, I think there's a lot of room to keep growing.
Yeah. So where do you see your position and your department moving forward in the next, couple of years, I would imagine?
Well, we definitely have some projects on the horizon. So especially for this office, we'll be hearing back the results of that disparity study. And those consultants will have a list of recommendations to go from with that. So we might need to make some adjustments. We'll just have to kind of wait and see what those results are. And then we'll need to kind of re-up, I guess, our policy for business inclusion. And I think that there's a lot of room. We've got some real estate projects going on, and so that's kind of somewhat a part of our division as well. So we've got a lot of these short-term projects, and then, I'm always into that visioning and strategy piece. So like I said, I'll be really excited to see which of the recommendations from the Reparation Commission come forward and how that might shape our strategy in the next 5 years.
Wow, 5 years. I was thinking 2 years.
Well, that might be a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, that is true. I keep forgetting how things move in local government.
Yes, and I do hope that those recommendations come. They will come much sooner than that. But I'm thinking, like, strategy-wise, what do the next 5 years look like? And the next 2 years will probably just be projects and things.
That is true. Do you want to give a final shout out for the position you're hiring for right now?
Yes, so we have, let me see, we've got Economic Development Specialist was just posted recently. Our department also has a Business Services Administrator position. We've got the Business Inclusion Manager position that we're hiring for, and then we're working on another position around city-owned properties and kind of redevelopment and things like that.
All right. Well, if you're interested in any of those positions and you want to learn more, you can find that. I think the easiest way to find jobs for the city is to Google City of Asheville jobs.
I do that too.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's kind of messy. But you're going to see a list of all the jobs, and you can filter them by departments. So good luck.
Thank you.
Filling up those positions.
Thanks.
But sadly, that's all the time we have for today. But thank you so much for talking to me about this event coming up and the MMCF, which stands for
Mountain Community Capital Fund.
MCCF.
Yes.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah. And we'll have the links up and all that good stuff.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Sam.
And that's it for today on What's Up Asheville. We'll see you next time here on WRES 100.7 FM. Take care of one another.
You've been listening to What's Up Asheville, sponsored by the City of Asheville in collaboration with WRES 100.7 FM. This program will re-air every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30. Thank you for listening.